Buy this Rolex, not that one. If you've ever tried buying a Rolex, you already know the truth. The catalog doesn't tell the whole story. Two watches might look nearly identical, sit just a few centimeters apart in the display, share the same crown on the dial, yet one of them doubles in value while the other struggles to stay above retail. And to make it more confusing, the watch that you think is the smart purchase often isn't the one seasoned collectors actually chase. That's why today's video matters. Welcome to the channel, your home for sharp insights, real watch market data, and brutally honest advice. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe, hit that like button, and share this video with anyone thinking about buying their first Rolex. Trust me, this guide will save them thousands of dollars and years of regrets. Because in the next few minutes, we're going to break down the top 10 buy this Rolex, not that one picks. Models where choosing the right reference could mean the difference between holding a future icon or holding a financial anchor. Grab a drink, settle in, and let's begin the countdown. 10. Buy the Rolex Explorer 124270, not the Explorer 214270. The Explorer has always been the purest expression of Rolex. No complications, no flash, no distractions. Just a watch built for people who go farther than everyone else. But within this deceptively simple model lies a decision that many new collectors get wrong. The choice between the 36mm 124,270 and the 39mm 214,270. Most beginners lean toward the 214,270. Bigger case, modern look, more wrist presence. It feels like the obvious pick in today's era of larger sports watches. But while the size seems appealing, it misses something crucial. The Explorer was never meant to be big. The 39mm always looks slightly off. Extended hour markers, stretched proportions, and a dial that felt just a bit too empty. That's why the 12,427.0 exists. The Explorer 12,427.0 returns to its original 36mm form, not because Rolex wanted to go backward, but because they wanted to make the Explorer right again. Everything on this watch snaps into perfect proportion. The symmetry, the balance, the way the hands match the dial size, the way the case hugs the wrist. It's not just smaller, it's more honest, more authentic, more Explorer. On the wrist, the 124270 has something the 214270 can never imitate: heritage. It feels like the watch that actually belongs on Everest. It feels timeless, not trendy. It feels like Rolex finally correcting its course. Meanwhile, the 214270 is stuck in an uncomfortable middle ground. Too big to be traditional, too plain to be modern, too rare to ignore, but too misunderstood to truly spike in value. It's respected, but it's not iconic. The 12,427 is iconic, and in the world of Rolex, iconic always wins. So if you're torn between these two Explorers, the choice isn't really between sizes. It's between a watch with true identity and one that lost a little of its soul trying to be something it wasn't. Buy the Explorer 124270, not the 214270. 9. Buy the Submariner 124060, no date, not the Submariner 126610LN. When most people imagine a Rolex, they picture the Submariner. It's iconic, instantly recognizable, and the first model many new buyers chase, and usually they go straight for the Submariner date, the 126610LN. It feels more luxury, more complicated, more in line with what social media glorifies. But that popularity is exactly why seasoned collectors look the other direction. The Submariner 124060, the no-date version, is the watch that truly embodies the Submariner spirit. One look at it on the wrist and you feel the difference. Pure symmetry, no clutter, no Cyclops magnifier disrupting the crystal. It's clean, balanced, and deeply faithful to the Submariner's tool watch origins. Before this watch became a symbol of success, it was a piece of diving equipment. Simple, reliable, functional. And in that era, there was no date window. Collectors appreciate this purity. They know the no-date Submariner isn't trying to impress. It's staying honest to its heritage. Meanwhile, the 126610LN, despite being excellent, suffers from its universal popularity. Everyone wants it, everyone buys it, and that makes it the predictable choice. In the long run, predictable rarely becomes legendary. Historically, the 12460 has shown stronger collector demand because it represents authenticity, not trend. It's the insider's pick, the version that tells other collectors you understand where the Submariner truly came from. The 126610LN is the watch the world thinks defines the line. The 124060 is the one that actually does. Buy the Submariner 124060, not the 126610 LN. 8. Buy the GMT-Master 2 126710BLRO, Pepsi, not the GMT-Master 2 126710BLNR, Batman. In the world of Rolex travel watches, few debates get louder than Pepsi versus Batman. The BLNR, Batman, is sleek, modern, and massively popular with younger collectors. That black and blue bezel looks sharp on the wrist, and its popularity exploded the moment Rolex released it. But popularity often hides the deeper truth, and in this case, the real long-term choice is the Pepsi. The GMT-Master 2 126710BLRO, with its red and blue bezel, isn't just another color option. It's the entire origin story of the GMT line. This was the color worn by early pilots in the golden age of aviation, created for Pan Am crews crossing the world. When you wear a Pepsi, you're wearing the design that defined the model from day one. And in the collector world, heritage is everything. The Batman, while loved, doesn't carry that historical weight. It's modern, stylish, and instantly recognizable. But it's also a reference born from the Instagram era. The Pepsi is the reference that shaped generations of GMT collectors long before social media existed. It's the version that connects past, present, and future in one look. On the market, the story is even clearer. Pepsi demand consistently outpaces the Batman because collectors value lineage over trend. The red and blue bezel stands as the unmistakable symbol of the GMT-Master, while the Batman's identity shifts depending on bracelet and production year. Simply put, the Batman is a great watch. The Pepsi is the GMT-Master. If you want the model that will hold its status and narrative for decades, the choice isn't complicated. Buy the 126710BLRO Pepsi, not the 126710BLNR Batman. 7. Buy the Yacht-Master 4012662-2 Blue Dial, not the Yacht-Master 4012662-2 Rhodium Dial. The Yacht-Master has always lived in a unique corner of the Rolex universe. Sporty, luxurious, and unmistakably elegant. But inside this line sits a quiet rivalry. The Blue Dial 126622 versus the Rhodium Dial 126622. On paper, they're nearly identical. Same case, same movement, same platinum bezel. Yet on the wrist, they couldn't feel more different. The Blue Dial 126622 is the version that truly comes alive. The moment light hits it, the sunburst blue transforms in layers of deep navy and electric cobalt. Paired with the red seconds hand, the watch has energy, contrast, and presence, something that makes it instantly memorable. It's the Yacht-Master at its most expressive. The Rhodium Dial version, while refined, tends to blend into the bezel. The gray-on-gray aesthetic can feel muted, even flat, especially in low light. It's beautiful, yes, but it doesn't stand out. And in a model as naturally subtle as the Yacht-Master, subtle on subtle becomes forgettable fast. Collectors increasingly lean toward the Blue Dial because it gives the Yacht-Master a distinct identity. It looks more modern, more luxurious, and more dynamic. Everything people expect when choosing this model over a Submariner or a GMT. The Blue Dial feels like the watch Rolex intended to make iconic. The Rhodium Dial is safe and understated. The Blue Dial is special. If you want a Yacht-Master that turns heads today and still feels relevant years from now, the win is clear. Buy the Blue Dial 126622, not the Rhodium 126622. 6. Buy the Rolex Submariner 14060M, not the Submariner 16610. The early 2000s Submariner era produced two legends, the no-date 14,060M and the date-equipped 16,610. On paper, they're siblings. In reality, one became a future classic, and the other became just another Rolex most people bought. Most beginners choose the 16610 because the date feels practical. The Cyclops looks Rolex, and its design seems familiar from decades of advertising and pop culture. But familiarity often hides the truth. The 16,610 is the mainstream choice, the one everyone had, everyone wanted, and everyone photographed. The 14,060M, meanwhile, stayed in the shadows. No date, no Cyclops, no fuss. Just a perfectly balanced dial, clean symmetry, and a purity that modern Rolex rarely offers anymore. It's the last Submariner that truly feels vintage on the wrist while still delivering modern reliability. Collectors love it for one reason. It's the final chapter of the classic Submariner tool watch era. Thin lugs, aluminum bezel, lighter case, warmer character, a dial uncluttered by a date window. It's everything a Submariner was originally designed to be. A diver's instrument, not a luxury symbol. The 16,610, though loved, blends into the sea of millions of similar Rolex models. It doesn't stand out, it doesn't define a moment, and it doesn't capture the essence of the Submariner story the way the 14,060M does. The 14,060M is purity. The 16,610 is popularity. If you want a Submariner that actually feels timeless, one that honors the origins of the model and offers a connection to the golden era before Rolex bulked up their sports watches, the choice is simple. Buy the Submariner 14,060M, not the 16,610. 5. Buy the Sky Dweller Blue Dial 336934, not the Sky Dweller White Dial 336934. The Sky Dweller sits at the top of Rolex technical achievements, an annual calendar, dual-time display, and an ingenious bezel-operated interface. It's the kind of watch collectors admire not just for how it looks, but for how brilliantly it's engineered. But within this standout model lies a divide that every buyer eventually confronts: the blue dial versus the white dial. At first glance, the white dial seems like the sensible choice. It's bright, clean, classic, and easy to pair with anything. Many beginners gravitate toward it because it looks refined without being loud, but the moment you compare the two side by side, something becomes undeniable. The blue dial, Sky Dweller, has a presence the white dial simply can't match. The blue dial isn't just blue, it's dynamic. Under sunlight, it explodes into a rich metallic gradient that shifts between deep navy and electric royal blue. The contrast between the blue dial, the crisp white markers, and the polished steel gives the watch a depth that feels almost three-dimensional. It commands attention without trying, and that's the exact quality that has made collectors chase it relentlessly for years. The white dial, while elegant, stays flat. It feels more conservative, more reserved, more similar to other Rolex models. And that's the key. The white dial doesn't define the Sky Dweller. It blends it into the rest of the lineup. The blue dial, on the other hand, is the dial that made this model famous. It's the one that consistently leads waiting lists. It's the one that stands out from across a room. And it's the one collectors immediately seek when they talk about the must-have Sky Dweller. When a model's entire identity gets tied to a specific dial color, that dial becomes more than an option. It becomes the benchmark. And the market reflects that. The blue dial holds stronger premiums, stronger demand, and stronger long-term desirability. The white dial is beautiful. The blue dial is unforgettable. If you want the Sky Dweller that truly represents the best of what Rolex has created, both technically and visually, the choice is clear. Buy the Sky Dweller Blue Dial, not the white dial. 4. Buy the Rolex Explorer 2 216570 Polar White, not the Explorer 2 216570 Black Dial. The Explorer 2 has always been a watch built for people who venture beyond the edges of ordinary life. Cavers, polar researchers, explorers who needed a wrist instrument that could tell day from night when the sun disappeared for months. And within this rugged, purpose-driven model, one version has quietly risen above the rest. The polar white dial. At first glance, the black dial version seems like the safer option. It's classic. It's stealthy. It follows the usual tool watch aesthetic that many Rolex buyers gravitate toward. But when you compare the two, something becomes undeniable. The Polar Explorer 2 isn't just another variant. It's the identity of the entire line. The 216,570 Polar stands out in a way few Rolex sports models ever do. The crisp white dial creates bold contrast against the black hands and indices, giving the watch clarity, legibility, and personality instantly recognizable from across a room. Add the bright orange 24-hour hand, an homage to vintage Explorer 2 references, and you get a watch that feels alive, purposeful, and uniquely tied to its history. The black dial, while handsome, lacks that spark. The details blend together. The orange hand doesn't pop. The watch becomes just another dark dial in a sea of dark dials. It performs well, but it doesn't define the Explorer 2 story. Collectors always chase the reference that captures the soul of the model, and the Polar dial is that soul. It's the version people think of when they picture the Explorer 2. The black dial is functional. The Polar dial is iconic. If you want the Explorer 2 that represents everything this model was meant to be, bright, bold, instantly readable, built for extremes, the choice is clear. Buy the Explorer 2 2165-70 Polar White, not the black dial. 3. Buy the Rolex GMT-Master 16710, not the GMT-Master 2 116710LN, ceramic black. The GMT-Master 2 has always been a watch built for travelers, bright bezels, bold colors, and a spirit of movement baked into its DNA. But somewhere along the way, Rolex shifted toward a more modern, more serious design language. And that shift created one of the clearest buy this, not that decisions in the entire GMT lineup. The vintage-styled 16710 versus the ceramic bezel 116710LN. The 116710LN is the version many beginners choose. It looks modern, tough, sleek, and glossy. The ceramic bezel feels premium. The black-on-black aesthetic makes it wearable with anything, and its presence is unmistakably contemporary Rolex. But that modernity comes with a cost. It erases the very character that made the GMT famous in the first place. And this is exactly where the 16710 comes in. The aluminum bezel of the 16710 isn't just a material difference, it's personality. It fades with age, picks up story, and carries a warmth that ceramic can't recreate. The red-blue Pepsi, the red-black Coke, even the all-black version each have their own soul. More importantly, the 16710 represents the last era of thin, elegant GMTs, before Rolex transitioned into thicker cases and heavier profiles. On the wrist, the 16710 wears like a true travel companion. Light, comfortable, effortless. It has a vintage heart but modern reliability, making it one of the most versatile GMTs Rolex ever built. The 16710LN, by contrast, loses the iconic two-tone identity entirely. Without the classic split-color bezel, the watch no longer tells the GMT story visually. It becomes just another black Rolex sports model. Good but not defining. Collectors often admire it, but they rarely chase it. The 16710LN is contemporary. The 16710 is timeless. If you want a GMT that captures the full history of the line, color, charm, character, and the unmistakable personality that made this model iconic from the start, there's only one real choice. Buy the GMT-Master 2 16710, not the 116710LN. 2. Buy the Daytona 126500LN black dial, not the Daytona 126500LN white dial. Few watches create more debate than the Rolex Daytona. For years, collectors have argued endlessly about which dial color will stand the test of time, black or white. And because social media tends to amplify the loudest voices, the white dial has become the hype choice. It photographs beautifully, it looks bright on the wrist, and it has dominated Instagram feeds for the past decade. But step away from the hype, and a deeper truth emerges. The Black Dial Daytona is the one that carries the model's true identity. The Daytona was born from motorsport, oil-stained racetracks, scorched asphalt, roaring engines, and chronographs used under pressure. And in that world, black dials weren't a stylistic preference. They were a functional necessity: high contrast, quick readability, pure purpose. The new 26500LN Black Dial continues that lineage with a quiet confidence the white dial can't replicate. The subdials disappear into the background, giving the chronograph a sleek, cohesive look, while the ceramic bezel frames everything like the cockpit instruments of a classic race car. It isn't just beautiful, it's authentic. Meanwhile, the white dial version, though undeniably stunning, leans modern and fashionable. It catches attention easily, but that ease of attention is precisely what makes it vulnerable to shifts in taste. Collectors who study long-term patterns know this. In every era, black dial Daytonas age better. They develop patina, character, in a visual depth the white dial never quite matches. The market has shown it time and again. Black dials become collector's pieces, while white dials become popular pieces, and popularity is temporary, identity is permanent. So when you compare the two modern 126,500 LNs, the choice becomes clearer with every glance. The white dial is the star of social media. The black dial is the star of history. Buy the Daytona 26500LN black dial, not the white dial. One for a new one. Buy the Rolex Milgauss 16400GVZ blue, not the Milgauss 16400GV black dial. The Milgauss has always been one of the most fascinating models in Rolex's lineup. Designed for scientists working around magnetic fields, it was never about diving or exploration. But despite its niche origins, the Milgauss became a symbol of Rolex's innovation and boldness. Among the Milgauss references, the 16400GVZ blue stands out, not just for its color, but because it embodies the spirit of the model. The Z blue dial isn't just blue, it shifts from cobalt to azure, catching the light in a way no other Rolex does. Paired with the green sapphire crystal, it offers a unique visual effect. The orange lightning bolt seconds hand adds a playful, unexpected touch. The Z blue is a watch that doesn't demand attention, but commands it through its design. The Black Dial Milgauss, while sleek and versatile, feels more restrained. It's elegant, but lacks the personality of the Z blue. It's a safe choice, while the Z blue is bold, expressive, and full of life. For collectors, the Z blue isn't just a color, it's a statement. It's the last of its kind, combining technical mastery with modern design. The Z blue Milgauss represents everything Rolex does well, pushing boundaries while maintaining functionality. While the black dial is classic, the Z blue is the future. It defines the Milgauss, making it the most memorable and iconic reference in the line. If you want the Milgauss that tells the full story and stands apart, the choice is clear. Buy the Milgauss 16400GVZ blue, not the black dial. And there you have it. 10 choices that separate hype from heritage, trend from timelessness, and buying a Rolex, from collecting a Rolex. If you stayed with me until the end, you're already ahead of most buyers out there. Because anyone can purchase a watch, but understanding why one reference matters more than another? That's what turns a buyer into a true enthusiast. If you found value in this breakdown, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and share this video with someone who's about to take their first step into the world of Rolex. You might save them thousands of dollars, or guide them toward the piece that becomes their future grail. This channel is here to help you make smarter decisions, avoid expensive mistakes, and build a collection with meaning, history, and long-term potential. More deep dive episodes, market insights, and storytelling breakdowns are on the way every week, so don't miss out. Thank you for spending your time with me today. Remember, the right Rolex isn't the one that shines brightest right now. It's the one that shines even brighter 10 years from today. I'll see you in the next video. Stay sharp, stay curious, and keep collecting wisely.